Hey, welcome back to Shades of Her. I'm your host, Makila Williams, and this is the podcast and community where we talk real about the process of becoming her, the woman God called you to be. Now, before we dive into today's episode, yes, you're not seeing my face on video today, and no, you didn't miss anything. That was on purpose, and I'll explain why in a minute. But first, let's get you up to speed because it's been a while. This is episode 2 of a 3-part mini-series, Becoming Her. Each episode breaks down a part of the HER acronym. H for healing, E for evolving, and R for rising. If you haven't listened to the first one, Healing Through Awareness, go back and catch that one. We talked about naming your pain and really facing the patterns that have been keeping you in survival mode. And today's episode is titled Evolving Through the Stretch. Sometimes evolving just means learning how to show up differently when your capacity change. That's exactly where I'm at. I had to pivot. And for now, this podcast is audio only. Here's what happened. I recorded this episode a few weeks ago, video, audio, all of it. It was done. Then storage issues came up. I was trying to clear space, delete files, and in the middle of all that, I deleted the episode. Yes, girl, completely deleted it. Permanently. I sat there for a minute staring at the screen like, did that just really happen? Then the frustration kicked in. It felt like I couldn't catch a break. Everything felt heavier than it should have. And for a second, I started trying to make it mean something deep. Turn it into a sign, a lesson, a word, but maybe it was just a mess. Maybe it was just me, tired and stretched too thin. Still, it made me pause and think about, what am I really doing right now? I've called a lot of things purpose that were just pressure and kept pushing through stuff I probably should have sat with a little longer. That episode wasn't about evolving. It was about me being willing to evolve, even when it's inconvenient, even when nobody sees it. And that kind of shift doesn't come with clarity. I had to be honest with myself. I don't need a camera to confirm what's already been assigned to me. I just need to show up where the oil is. And right now, the oil is in the grit and the stretch, not on the screen. Honestly, that's where I've been sitting. In between what was and what's next. And it's not clear, it just is. Evolving doesn't feel like something big. It doesn't feel like some big transformation moment. It feels like standing in a hallway where the old doors are closed, but the new ones haven't opened yet. You don't quite fit the old version of you, but the new one, you're still learning how to walk in that. And that space, that weird, uncomfortable, where do I go from here space, that's where most of us are. Not who we used to be, not yet rooted in who we're becoming. And there's no age limit to that space. That's the space where God stripped back the layers, start reshaping you quietly and deeply. That's what I call the middle place, where you are evolving from what was and into who you are meant to be. And without even trying, you start to feel the shift. One of the first signs that you're evolving is when your appetite for people, things, environments start to change. Think of it like this. You know how you can pull something out of your closet, something you used to love, and suddenly it doesn't fit the same? Maybe you haven't outgrown it physically, but it just doesn't feel like you anymore. The things that used to light you up don't. The places you used to run to for comfort now feel off. Even the habits you used to justify, something in your spirit starts to resist them. And it's not easy because the old version of your life is still familiar. You know how to move in it, but deep down, you also know you've shifted. You stop performing. You stop overextending. You stop trying to be everything for everyone. And without even realizing it, you start reaching for peace instead. You start being more careful about what you let in. You start listening for what actually nourishes you. It's not that you're changing just to change. You're evolving. Now let's talk about your circle, because whether you realize it or not, your circle is shaping you. The people you keep around you, they're either speaking to your future or echoing your past. And I know we love to say, I'm different, I'm not like them. Birds of a feather still flock together. If you really want to know where you're headed, take a hard look at who's walking beside you. Are they stirring your growth or feeding your stagnation? You can't evolve and still entertain what's pulling you back. That includes the conversations, the environments, the content, the chaos, and yes, the relationships. Because your circle influences who you are today. The real question is, do they influence who you're becoming? Now, I gotta say this, and if it step on your toes, sis, I hope it also sets you free. Some of y'all are asking God to send you a healthy relationship, but still choosing what's familiar over what's aligned. You're praying for a husband, but still giving your heart to a man who's not even your covering. He's your confusion. He doesn't lead, he doesn't pour, he doesn't support, he doesn't push you closer to your purpose, but he feels familiar. He's texting, he's calling, so you stay. But the biggest time waster for a woman who's called to build something whole is giving her energy to someone who was never meant to be more than a moment. That's not purpose. That is purely delay and a distraction. And sometimes it's not even the enemy. It's us. We let them in. We stay too long. We try to fix what God never told us to start. So let me be clear. When God starts removing people from your life, don't go fishing for what he cut off. Don't text them. Don't check their page. Don't spiritualize the soul tie. Some people were never sent. They were simply allowed. And the version of you that's evolving can't afford to be wrapped up in what was only meant for survival. This is the stretch. This is the moment where God is asking you, will you trust me enough to let it go, even if it still feels familiar? Some connections aren't attacks. They're assignments for a version of you that no longer exists. And if you keep reviving what God removed, you'll delay what's next. You'll water down your purpose, and you'll miss the version of you that's waiting on the other side of obedience. So take inventory. Who has access to your heart, your habits, your time? Are they influencing your peace or your patterns? Are they helping you evolve or keeping you stuck? Evolving isn't just about what's happening in you. It's about what you stop entertaining around you. And if you're really about becoming her, you've got to stop making room for what drains the version of you God is trying to rise. Let it go. Now let's go a little deeper. Some of us aren't just outgrowing people. We're outgrowing patterns that keep us playing small. We're gifted. We're creative. We have vision, but we're sitting on it. Why? Because it's easier to stay in what's familiar than to risk failing in something that demands more from you. But hear me and hear me. You don't grow where it's comfortable. You grow where you're called. And calling will always stretch you past comfort. Some of y'all have gifts that could change your life, but you're still trying to feel ready before you step into it. You're waiting on confidence, but confidence isn't what you need. Obedience is. Now let me bring this closer to home. In my career, I've been stretched into roles I didn't feel prepared for, opportunities that on paper I wasn't qualified for, but I said yes because failure wasn't an option. I've been placed in rooms where I had to learn on the spot, lead on the spot, and deliver without a roadmap. And it was in the pressure that I discovered what was already in me. Sometimes God won't show you what you can do until he put you in position where doing it is the only option. We always say we want to be used by God, but then get scared when he called us to rise to the occasion. But diamonds don't shine until they've survived the fire. The most brilliant, clear, and valuable diamonds, they've endured the most pressure and the longest heat. You're in the fire right now, not because God is punishing you, but because he's refining you. You're not being overlooked. You're being prepared. So let me ask you this. Are you sitting on a gift because you're scared it might not work? Or are you willing to evolve, even if it stretches every part of you? Because evolving doesn't mean you'll always feel ready, but it does mean you're willing to try, willing to trust, willing to rise to the occasion. Familiar will keep you average. And let me tell you, I wasn't born for mediocrity. I was not born to be average. God has called me to be above average. How about you? Your obedience will push you into greatness. And if you feel God calling you higher in your career, your business, your ministry, your voice, don't ignore that stretch. That stretch is your level up. God doesn't stretch you to break you. He stretches you to place you. And honestly, it wouldn't be fair for me to talk about evolving and not say this part out loud. Because all of this, it's not just something I'm sharing and teaching. It's something I'm walking through myself. This has been real life for me. I had to make a decision recently that shooketh me. I closed the doors to my wellness studio in Naperville, Illinois. Yeah. The place I prayed for, the dream I worked hard to open, the space I created for women to heal mentally, spiritually, physically. It was everything I thought I wanted. And for a while, it was aligned. But somewhere along the way, I could feel God tugging me. The grace lifted, the energy shifted. I had no capacity, and I was carrying something I wasn't called to carry alone. It wasn't failure. It was direction. God saying, you can't step into what's next if you keep gripping what I told you to release. That broke me wide open. I had to let it go. He was making it clear. This right here, shades of her, this is what I've been anointed for. So I don't know who needs to hear this, but maybe you're carrying something that used to fit. And now it's just heavy. You're still showing up, still trying, still holding on because it looks good or because people expect you to. But inside, you know it's time to pivot. And I get it. Letting go is hard when you've built your whole identity around something. But if you don't release it, it's going to start costing you your peace. There's a version of you that got you here, but she can't take you where you're going. So before you move on, just ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's keeping me from becoming her? What do I need to grieve, surrender, or release so God can make room for what's next? He's not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to be honest, to be willing. That's what evolving really is. It's not a performance. It's not a highlighted reel. It's a woman saying yes. Now, if this episode hit a nerve, stepped on your toes, or knocked on your front door, it's probably because you're in that space, the stretch, that quiet in-between place, that middle space where you feel pulled, uncomfortable, like something in you is shifting, but nothing around you has caught up yet. You're evolving. And no, it doesn't always look like progress on the outside. Sometimes it just looks like letting go, sitting still, or finally being honest with yourself. But let me remind you of something. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not lost. You're being prepared. You don't need more time. You need more trust. You don't need a sign. You just need to say yes. So if you're tired, uncertain, or sitting in something you can't name yet, I want you to pause and say this after me. I am not who I was. I am not yet who I will be. But I am saying yes to this version right here, right now. I release what no longer fits. I forgive who I had to be to survive. And I make room for what's next. God, I trust you. Even here, even now, even in the stretch, because I'm not just becoming her. I already am. I just had to remember. If this episode stirs something in you, save it, sit with it, Share it with someone who needs it. Don't just keep it in your headphones. Let it hit somebody else's heart. And don't forget, this is part 2 of Becoming Her series. The final episode, Rising, drops next week, and it's audio only. Just me and you, heart to heart. Until then, be kind to yourself, be patient with your process, and stay open to who you're becoming. This is Shades of Her, and you're right on time.